From the heart of a musical lineage, a troubadour has emerged, not just carrying a torch, but igniting his own distinct flame. Our guest this week has spent a lifetime immersed in the vibrant world of music, stepping onto stages almost before he could walk. Imagine a 5-year-old, not just watching, but performing alongside his father, John McEuen, of the legendary Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. That early immersion wasn't just a passing phase, it was the fertile ground for a lifelong dedication to his craft. For over 4 decades, this artist has been a constant presence on stages across the globe, amassing over 3,000 shows. From the iconic Grand Ole Opry to the sprawling fields of Stagecoach, from the intimate setting of Music City Roots to the national spotlight of American Idol and The Tonight Show, his music has resonated with audiences far and wide. He's not just played for people, he's connected with them, weaving stories and melodies that linger long after the final note. Think about sharing a stage with a constellation of musical stars. Bon Jovi's rock anthems, Steve Martin's banjo brilliance, the outlaw country of Willie Nelson, the smooth sounds of Kenny Loggins, and the soulful voice of Leon Russell. Our guest has not only shared the stage, but earned the respect and admiration of these musical titans and many more, a testament to his own artistry and presence. Beyond the bright lights of the stage, his dedication to songwriting runs deep. With over 200 songs penned, he's a storyteller at heart, each composition a window into his experiences and observations. This passion has led to collaborations with songwriting legends like Mason Williams, the mastermind behind the instrumental classic Classical Gas, and Chris Caswell, known for his work on projects ranging from Daft Punk to the Muppets. His discography speaks volumes, a collection of acclaimed albums released through his own Lint Records, including Grand Design, Festival, Scrapbook, McEuen Sessions, and Side by Side. Each album is a testament to his evolving sound and his commitment to authentic musical expression. Even Steve Martin himself lauded Side by Side as wonderful, accomplished, and emotional. Linda Ronstadt described McEuen Sessions as something that doesn't get any better for pure musical intent and accomplishment. High praise indeed from such esteemed voices. While his roots are undeniably intertwined with a certain iconic band, today we celebrate the individual artistry of a man who has carved his own path, a singer, songwriter, and guitarist whose music stands on its own merit. His latest work continues to explore the rich tapestry of Americana, drawing from his heritage while forging a sound that is distinctly his. So, please join us as we welcome a true musical craftsman, a seasoned performer, and a captivating storyteller. Get ready to delve into the songs and the journey of the incredibly talented. And now, welcome back to Stories Round the Table with your hosts, Hudson and Joni.
In the heart of country music's timeless tradition, where stories are woven into the very fabric of our souls, gather round the table for a journey into the heart of the songs, the singers, and the stories that define our world. Welcome to Season 2 of Stories Round the Table with Hudson and Joni. Bringing you these unforgettable conversations, Hudson James, executive producer, co-host, and singer-songwriter.
Hi, I'm Hudson James, and I'm incredibly passionate about sharing these stories with you. Season 2 delves deeper into the world of country music, revealing untold experiences and invaluable information. Grab a seat and your favorite beverage, and let's all enjoy the show together.
And I'm Joni. Hudson and I are very excited about Season 2. We're going to introduce you to some wonderful new guests who will share their story about where they came from, how they got their start, and what inspired them to follow this incredible journey in country music.
Joni Harms, executive producer, co-host, and singer-songwriter, a true icon of Western music. Her impact on the genre is undeniable. She's not just a singer, she's a storyteller, a keeper of the Western spirit. Her contributions have been recognized by the most prestigious organizations in Western music. The International Western Music Association has honored her repeatedly. In 2003, she received both Female Vocalist of the Year and Song of the Year, culminating in her induction into the IWMA Hall of Fame in 2020. More recently, in 2022, she was awarded the Team Penning Co-Write Songwriting Contest Award. The Academy of Western Artists also recognized her exceptional talent, including naming her Entertainer of the Year in 2002. Jimmy Murphy, executive producer and music manager. Vernell Hackett, public relations director and journalist. In the heart of Nashville's vibrant music scene, she's a fixture, chronicling its history and shaping its narrative. Her byline appears in respected publications, including American Songwriter, and she has contributed to major news outlets like Reuters. From covering the CMA Awards to in-depth artist interviews, she's a respected voice, capturing the essence of the music, the stories behind the songs.
Hello, listeners. This is Vernell Hackett, your Public Relations Director. We've got a fantastic lineup of guests this season, and we can't wait for you to experience these authentic conversations. Get ready to pull up a chair.
Jonathan Svoboda, social media executive. And Brett C. Burks, producer and singer-songwriter. Join Hudson and Joni as they sit down with the legends and the rising stars, sharing the tales behind the tunes, the laughter, and the tears that shape the soul of country music. Produced by the Story Weaver Studio.
Joni, today we have an incredible artist, Nathan McEuen, son of the legendary John McEuen of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. What a pleasure to have someone like this on the show.
I know it. And what a nice guy. It's just so refreshing for us when we really don't. I had never met or really known that much about Nathan until I had a chance to visit with him. And that's why I'm looking so forward to visit with him even more today. He's just down to earth guy. And, with the, like you just said, the stories he's bound to have, not only just with his own career, but being able to grow up with his dad. He could be almost, I don't think I have time to talk with you guys, but instead he was all about our interview today and excited to talk to us. So I'm just looking forward to bringing him on here in a couple minutes.
Absolutely. I can't wait to hear what stories he might have. So let's bring Nathan McEuen on and see what he's got to share.
For having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Nathan, for taking the time.
My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure.
Where are you at today?
Well, today I am in Arizona.
Well, I just came back from there. Nice and warm there then?
It's, I'm enjoying the rain passing through, but it's a nice departure from the warm. I love the weather when it changes. So,
yeah. So you live in Arizona right now?
For the time being, I bounce around between here, California, Utah, and Colorado, but mostly here in Arizona.
Yeah, and what part?
Mainly just the Phoenix, Scottsdale area.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Well, like I said, I was just there doing some work too, and was excited when Hudson said we were going to be able to have you on our show. So again, welcome, and we just are excited to hear some of your stories through the years. What an adventure your life has been, huh?
It just started, hit the ground running, so to speak, or flying. The first, I don't know exactly where to start, but growing up how I did with family that was in the music business, my first tour I went on was when I was 9 weeks old on an airplane, just to basically, and just got the bug quite early. The seed was planted quite early, the whole music thing,
Well, just for folks that they should but don't know, why don't you tell everybody who your dad is and what you got to be part of, and some of those stories and memories you remember as a kid.
Oh my. Well, my father, for those of you out there, you might know, he is John McEuen, and he plays banjo, and he's most known for being in the band, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And I grew up in that world, and like I said, hit the ground running. First tour I went on was at 9 weeks old, and I haven't stopped since, really. You know, I'm almost 45, and I tell people I've been doing this for a little bit over 40 years, and they kind of laugh. I'm actually kind of serious. But, you know, the first part of it was just being on the sidelines, watching Dad, joining him at work, and the first time I stepped foot on stage was when I was 5, you know? So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And the list of people you've had the chance to meet is amazing. But for you, it probably just felt like that was what everybody did.
It kind of just felt normal. And also at the same time, I felt, well, it's funny. I kind of lived 2 lives. I have a father that obviously traveled around the world and worked with a lot of people. And through that, I got to meet them. And also, when I went home and spent time with my mother, I spent another half of the year or a little bit more going to public school and living quite an anonymous life, and had the best of both worlds. And I'm grateful for that balance. But yeah, it kept me quite grounded. It was really interesting though, going from like the weekend out on the road with Dad, or when there were school breaks. It was, you know, I would go do things like just like fly out to Reno, and Dad would be playing at a casino. A couple of circus elephants opened for him, and then he was opening for another man like Leon Russell, and I got to hang out with just all sorts of rockers and bluegrassers and people, and would spend a weekend in Reno and then fly back home and Monday morning be in my school, and I just wouldn't ever tell anybody about what I did over the weekends. That kind of stuff. It was like a double life. And it was just quite fascinating that Dad felt, I guess, brave enough to include his children in that, because it was, I also felt a severe responsibility not to mess up for Dad and make him look bad. So, and I knew from a very young age just to kind of speak when spoken to and just be polite, and just, and at the same time, not take for granted how special it truly was. Dad constantly just said how lucky he felt, and how he was always pointing out how it's kind of a fleeting thing, you know, and you're only as good as your last show. Anyway, I'm rambling on about that, but and then on my own, you know, that was like the first part of my life. And the past 20 years, I've been kind of branching out, doing my own solo thing, and I've had a record label. I've produced 7 records, and I've just been having a lot of fun making sense out of all of it, and just seeing where the road takes me, you know?
Yeah, tell us about some of the stuff that you're doing.
Sorry?
Tell us a little bit about what you are doing with your music.
Oh, well, right now, I'm very excited to announce that for the first time in 10 years, I haven't put any albums out officially. I've done a couple of little side bootleg things, and I've always written and recorded, but I haven't officially put anything out in 10 years. And I'm happy to say that this one just kind of was just naturally found its own path. About 7 years ago, I called my friend Mason Williams. You might know Mason from writing the song Classical Gas, and writing for the Smothers Brothers, season for Saturday Night Live. Anyway, Mason is just a wonderful man, and I've always been a fan of his, and got to know him a little bit through the years, but I just called him on my own 7 years ago and said, "Hey, Mason, would you want to maybe write a couple songs?" Or I say a couple. "Would you want to write a song with me? I have this idea that," just asked him, and he just simply said, "Yeah, come up to my house."
He's out in my neck of the woods in Oregon, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he invited me up to his house in Oregon, and I spent a week there. It was a wonderful time. He was mentoring me. He telling stories about all the Smothers Brothers episodes and how sometimes the FBI was there, like looking through the script, the government looking over their shoulder, just how like real and surreal it all was. And I'm just sitting in his office, his studio, looking at all the awards on the wall, the Grammys. And he's 78 years young. He's like a kid at heart, and it's just full of laughter and joy and music. And he just cracks me open in a way like, think of it this way. Think of it this way. Writing in all these other ways. It expanded my horizon in that realm. And I was so grateful that we finished the goal of like, hey, let's write a song. We wrote a song, and that song is for a movie that I'm working on. I'm also, we can talk about that maybe at a slightly different time. I'm a movie producer, and that's also what I do. And but on the side of doing that, I've been writing. And so when I wrote with Mason, we ended up having extra time, and we started writing one more song. We had some chords and some melodic ideas, and we kind of left it at that. And I kind of left the song incomplete for a few years. And then through that time, I ended up finding the love of my life, my wife, Tracy. We ended up getting married, and I reapproached the song. And finally, through time, I had everything in my heart that I needed to complete the song for Tracy. And it's called My One and Only. And I'm very, when I, my goal to write a song is hopefully the person is bored, is that they like it. Because if they like it, then, okay, I've done my job.
Didn't you say that it even took you like 7 tries between the two of you to be able to not, have one of you crying?
Oh, that's just it. So it took a few more than that, actually. And it was all right. I was shaking, nervous, because, you're sharing something that you hope is conveyed in a way that is resonated in the way you hope. And thankfully, it's just like within the first couple lines, she's just, crying, and then this makes me cry. It took us about 20 times to get through it, and then, right? So, and then I was like, great, I feel like I can start playing this for audiences. And then last year I was on tour. We went and did a cross-country tour and played Winfield and played Deadwood Jam up in South Dakota, and some really fun highlight shows cross-country. And the song was going over, and people were asking where they could buy it or stream it. And I went, I guess I need to record it. So after I got off tour, I went back to California, where I go a part of the year, and I went to record with a guy named Chris Caswell, who's worked with me on many things before. He's a songwriter friend of mine, a collaborator, and an orchestrator, and I've known him since I was 12, 11, and I met him through my father. See, this is another person that, I met through my father, but on my own, or, we're just, we play music, and we're all our own artists, and we're all having a good time working together. So Chris Cadwell, he just showed up in the studio. He's the one that, he also helped me with a couple of one melodic change and a chord change on this song. So he's also credited on the songwriting part of the music. But he had the day available, came into the studio. We recorded the song in one take. We did two passes of it, but each pass was one take, and we took the best of 2 takes. So it was just one of the first times in my life where I was like, wow, I think we got it. Did we get it? And it was just piano, guitar, and a vocal. And then, thankfully, it's the recording. I played it for George Knopfel at Mesa Blue Moon Recordings, and he loved it, and we started talking about the idea of releasing an EP of a few of my songs, my more popular songs that I've been collecting over the years. I re-recorded a few of them, and sorry if I'm rambling.
No.
Yeah. But
No, not at all. I mean, it's one of those songs, Beautiful Night. I love that one.
Yes, Beautiful Night. It was, I first recorded that 20 years ago, and I have now remixed it a little and remastered it, and included it on this EP because it's my most popular and most requested song. It's the song that I've had my fans ask me to play at their weddings a lot, like when they're walking down the aisle or their first dance, and I've been included in so many spaces like that with people through that song, and I feel like it's just a miracle. I feel so lucky anytime that connects that way. So, and and also when you just hang out and just with people that are creatives and write for a living, I felt like one day I'm just going to send Beautiful Night to Steve Martin because so I did that. I sent it to him on a CD a while back, and because I wanted to share the music with him and just say, and give him some compliments on some work he did, just as a friend, because that's what I do. That's what he does. So I just sent him the song, and to my surprise, 2 months later, I got a letter back in the mail from Steve Martin, and it was a typed letter, and on it was just a couple of sentences, and the last sentence on it said, and by the way, or you can say by the way, but the actual quote is, "Beautiful Night is a song worthy of your being. Great work." And it completely blew my mind. I was like, what? Like, wow, that's really kind of you, Steve. And it's just to go out of his way to actually type up a letter, sign it, and send it in mail. It was affected me just slightly.
Well, he's actually quite a musician himself.
You know it. Oh my gosh.
So to have that kind of a compliment from him is a big deal.
It's huge. It really was a huge deal for me. And I told my father, he's like, wow, he was impressed. And Steve, yeah, he's talented beyond me, but his musicianship is fantastic. I'm a super fan of like frailing banjo and writing, but he's actually like the way he can frail on the banjo is just top notch. And and the shows he puts on with Marty Short and Steve Canyon Rangers and the whole thing is just fantastic, well-rounded, entertaining. Like you leave, if people, I don't know. I'm just a super fan. Maybe I'm biased.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Hey folks, are you ready for some fresh sounds from a true musical talent? Mark your calendars because on April 18th, the highly anticipated new album from singer-songwriter Nathan McEuen is dropping. From a lifetime immersed in music, Nathan brings you a collection of songs that are sure to resonate. Whether you love heartfelt lyrics, captivating melodies, or authentic country vibes, this new album is a must-listen. Want to be among the first to experience Nathan's latest work? Head over to his official website at nathanmceuen.com. That's nathanmceuen.com. You can find out how to pre-order the album, explore his previous releases, and stay up to date on all things Nathan McEuen. Don't miss out on the new music from this incredible artist, coming April 18th. That's Nathan McEuen at nathanmceuen.com. Are you loving the stories and conversations here on Stories Round the Table with Hudson and Joni? We're thrilled you're tuning in. Did you know you can take a piece of the table with you? Head on over to our official website at storiesroundthetable.com. That's storiesroundthetable.com. There, you'll find all our past episodes, so you never have to miss a great conversation. But that's not all. We've also got some fantastic merch that lets you show your support for the podcast. From cozy t-shirts to stylish mugs and more, you can grab some gear that lets everyone know you love sharing stories around the table. So, keep the conversation going even after the episode ends. Visit storiesroundthetable.com today to explore our episodes and check out our awesome merch. Thanks for being part of our community.
So that's a beautiful night on the album. I'm super excited. People are resonating with it. It's being reviewed, and it's one of my more popular songs. Also, on the album, I have, let's see here, I have the song list. Besides the title track, My One and Only, there's another song, Lately, that I wrote a few years back. It's one of my more requested songs. I re-recorded this in the studio with the same group that I recorded Beautiful Night with. Same guy on the piano, Jimmy Caleri on piano, Mario Caleri on drums, and lately Steve Nelson on upright bass. And most of this album, actually the whole thing is done acoustic in studio. There's not a lot of electric instruments except for on one track, like an applied.
I noticed that. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but most of it is done. I kind of want to keep it like thinking of like an unplugged style record, like MTV's Unplugged series.
Yeah.
Trying to just keep it unplugged but rocking. And lately, I'm happy to say I feel we got a good capture of that in the studio with the guy. And the reason lately is a song that randomly just like. It's another popular one. I had a friend of mine, Natalie Gelman, out of the blue call me. He says, "Hey, so guess what? We're going to be opening up for Bon Jovi." I was like, "What? What do you mean?" So Natalie and I recorded this on YouTube, like Tiny Desk video, just for fun, like a Tiny Desk style video. We recorded my song Lately. She sang a harmony, and when she was basically auditioning to get a gig opening for Bon Jovi and submitting the application and trying out for it, she submitted the link of the video that she and I did of my song. And long story short, by default, they asked her to bring a band. And I was, of course, in the videos that she submitted. So they thought it was, I don't know, she might tell the story slightly different. But long story short, she asked me if I would join her. She had asked me if I would play my song Lately. And so I found myself opening up for Bon Jovi, 21,000 fans, sold out concert.
Wow.
3.5 minutes, I got to feature this song just a few years back. It was a lot of fun, floating on cloud nine for a minute, and it was just a very enjoyable experience because I don't really set out. I'm going to make it in the business. I just want to have fun doing what I'm doing, and I'm really glad when things like that just happen because I didn't try for it. It just was like almost like accidental, like free, like almost like Forrest Gump kind of thing.
That's free saying, really. Wow. That's very cool.
I love it. Anyway, I'm Ram.
Well, that's why we call it Stories Around the Table, so you can just ramble and tell your story.
Phew.
I'm enjoying it. That's sometimes the best way, Nathan, is to let you tell all the, if we continue to ask questions, sometimes we don't some of the neat stuff that you share, just doing it on your own.
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate it. We're a good company then.
And Tracy, you wrote the song for my one and only, is she traveled with you some, and you guys doing well?
Oh, we when we got together, we've been through so much together, apart in our own lives, that when we got together, we decided to do our very best to spend every day together in the same vicinity. Like, even though she has to work, I don't tour when she's working and vice versa. She doesn't work when I'm touring. So she goes on the road with me everywhere, and whenever I'm not on the road, I stay where she's working, and I get work done in my office, and I write, and I do stuff like podcasts like this, and so, and do whatever I can from home. And thankfully in this digital wireless world, it's easier to be telecommuting. So yeah, we haven't spent a day apart.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's really how you have a good committed relationship, is having those boundaries and making sure you're with each other.
It's the best thing, and it's difficult holding that line sometimes, but it's the best policy for us. I mean, how I grew up was not. I mean, it was fun. It had so many highlights, so many things I could talk about. But on the other side of that coin, it came with its challenges, right? And we all have our challenges in life. We're all working on stuff, but when I was 6 years old, my family was separating. My dad and mom separated. The divorce happened when I was 8, and it actually is still something that and I don't want to get into details. I don't need to. It's all water under the bridge now. But why that happened was a severe shot and shipped in the universe of my heart and my entire family's heart that going forward in the future, I just promised myself even that I would try not to create a scenario that would potentially inspire that. So solidarity, my wife and I just travel together, and there's no judgment going on here. It's just for my own life, this is what we do, and for her too. So there you go, and it really works when you love.
Well, congratulations. And you know, I know that what you've been talking about has been so great for all of our listeners to hear, but I do know that they're going to be wondering when that album you're talking about is going to be available, how they can find, and you know, make sure about your movie or whatever you're getting together. We can still find some of that out from you before we have to go.
Absolutely. So the album is set to release April 18th. It will be distributed through Virgin Music Group for digital release and on Burnside distribution for physical. It's going to be on CD. And for my fans, I have digital cards with QR codes that they can buy as well, so they can just scan it real quick and download it to their phone. That's what we're doing for that. And on all the major streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon.
Yeah.
So it'll be out there, and if you can, please, download it, order it, review it. It's going to be, I think we're sending it out to 800 radio stations. Call your radio stations, ask for My One and Only by Nathan McEuen. If you can, just for fun. If you have nothing else to do, there is a pre-order link. So for that week, people can go pre-order it off my website. And get their very own signed copy, personalized. I would be happy to sign. And
Well, yeah, send us that link and we'll make sure it's in the podcast.
Wonderful. Yeah. NathanMcEuen.com.
All right. Perfect. I did have a kind of a question. You collaborated with so many people. You got to grow up a life that not everybody gets to do. And there's, like you said, there's pros and there's also drawbacks to that. But with that being said, did you ever get a chance to write with your father?
Write with my father.
Or do any collaborations with him?
Thank you for the question. I'll start by saying the first song I ever wrote was when I was 8 years old. Right after the divorce, the family, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's music that I go to for my heart when times get tough. And it's funny how I naturally just went to writing songs. So I just pen to paper, started writing words down about Christmas called Running Around. I've been running around every day. So I can't wait. I just can't wait till Christmas Day. I could go on and on. But that's the first song I wrote. And I needed my father to help me chord it out because he could tell I had the melody and the lyrics. He's like, okay, so this is probably the chord you want there. Probably the chord you want there. And at that time when I was 8, he said, Nick, this is actually pretty good. He was kind of impressed with me. We did demo it like a few years later. But he said, if you do this writing, if you can make it writing, you got it made, Just kind of said little things like that to me through the year. So starting then, he kind of set the tone, and through the years, he always invited me up on the stages when he felt I was ready. One of my first big gigs for my birthday, this was in Salt Lake City when I lived in Utah. This is when I went to a normal school day. This is what I'm talking about when I was talking about earlier. So here's another story about how Dad picked me up after school. This is March 17th, 1995, the day before my birthday. And I was going to turn 15, but he's like, okay, so you want to join me for my gig tonight? I was like, really? Okay. Yeah, he's like, I think you're ready. I think you're ready to sing lead on House of Blue Corner. You know the chords, you know the lyrics, you know the song. I'll back you up. I was like, really? Oh, okay, cool. And here I'm thinking we're driving downtown Salt Lake City to some 200-seat venue to play a private gig. And I didn't know any details. He just picked me up from school. So hit the ground running kind of energy. Okay, cool. Then we're driving downtown to the Gallivan Center in Salt Lake, which is like Rockefeller Center of New York, but for Salt Lake, there's an ice skating rink. They put, a lot of festivities. It's a city square where you could do this big outdoor amphitheater, hotels surrounding it, skyscrapers. And I was like, what's going on? I was like, uh-oh. I realized the show my dad was talking about was he got the gig opening for John Denver for the Olympic bid party for the Salt Lake City Winter Olympics that they wanted to get.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
And here I am going, oh, crap. And then it starts setting in. I get getting more and more nervous. It's like, oh, no. So I realized the show, I'm playing for 15,000 people. Dad? Okay. Do you think I'm ready for that? Cool. Right on. And I'm opening for John Denver. What? Okay. And he's like, yeah, happy birthday.
My goodness. What a gift. Oh, man. I bet you'll never forget that day.
No, that's just one of those things. And meeting John Denver, you've heard about your dad's friend for so long, but actually getting to meet him and will always change. It will never leave my memory, I don't think. I hope not, because he was just a wonderful, polite, just kind man. Like you could tell they were really great friends. And John, asking me a couple of questions, shaking my hand, his big old smile, and then to open for him, and then have him go out, just knock it out of the park. Just the whole, and then the next day I'm back at school. There you go.
Wow. Well, that's what a story right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I can continue working with my father to, I always wanted to do what felt natural, felt right. By the time I was 30 years old, I ended up following my father and Jonathan, because I had found this studio in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, Tree Sound Studios, Paul Diaz, wonderful situation. But I was on tour, and I ended up living in Atlanta for 6 months as a pause on tour, and kind of tried to just feeling around, looking around, and I was like, wow, I think I found a studio where I can actually record. This is perfect. So I called my father, called Jonathan. The guys, would you want to maybe finally record a family album? There's a perfect studio that none of us have ever worked at before. It's completely new energy. It's like there's nothing. It's clean slate. It feels right. So they went with the idea, and we ended up recording an album called the McEuen Sessions, and put down on, well, they can't say tape anymore, put down on hard drive some of my favorite songs I've been playing with them for years, from A Long Hard Road, leader of the band, and also some of my songs that I wrote. In fact, 6 of the songs on there I co-wrote or wrote, and it was a really fun experience. And we went and toured that for a good year. And so working with Dad and Jonathan has always been an on and off again experience, but I cherish it every time,
Absolutely. Well, boy, the time has sailed by. I can't believe we're already needing to wrap it up. But thanks for all these great stories. And the movie, real quick, is that something that should be out maybe this next year?
Oh, no. So the movie, thank you for asking. I'll try to wrap this up as quick as I can. The movie is a movie that's about this storied banjo that was given to me by a woman named Lucy Taylor, who was the voice of Minnie Mouse.
Oh, yeah.
And the banjo that she gave me, that she had custom made, was made for her husband, who was the voice of Mickey Mouse. So Mickey and Minnie were married in real life. And I'm telling their true life love story through all the instruments she gave me, all the songs I wrote for them, with all of their friends included. And I've been working on them for years with Lucy's blessing. And we're actually about 3 years away from it, because it includes a finale concert, it includes a lot of animation, and it includes a lot of editing and timing. And so you can actually, in the next 2 to 3 years, you'll be hearing much more about it, I promise.
Oh, how exciting. Wow, Nathan. Oh, that makes me, I don't know, just my skin get all goosebumps. It sounds so neat.
Thank you, Joni. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nathan, for coming on and taking your time out of your busy day.
It's really been my pleasure. I hope we do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Best of luck to you, and tell Tracy hello for us, too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joni, that was an amazing interview with Nathan.
Gosh, yes. I mean, can you imagine growing up that way? I mean, to do the things that he did. I mean, oh, golly, that one where he was talking about on his birthday when he got to go out. That was something, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And for him growing up, all these famous people come to the house, he had no idea who they were. They just knew that they were Dad's colleagues.
Yeah, he did. Everybody grew up like that, I guess, huh?
Well, I most certainly didn't. I did meet my fair share of celebrities when I was a teenager, but not to the extent that he got. And the fact that he decided to follow in his father's footsteps. I still find that so interesting because when you grow up in that kind of an establishment or a household or whatever you would call it, you would almost think that the children would see so much of the dark side or the negativity about being famous that they would decide to venture off into something different. But they don't. They keep pursuing it. It kind of goes back to that story about, following in your father's footsteps, and most kids don't want to do it. You hear the banker or the corporate executive, and they always want their kids to follow in the footsteps, and the kid generally goes in a completely different direction. But it seems like when it comes to music, it's completely the opposite. They're all about it. They follow it. They go into it. Just like with Jamie O'Neill. She definitely chose to go into her father's footsteps.
Mm-hmm. She sure did. Yeah. And I mean, having praise from Steve Martin and all the stuff that Nathan had, it just seemed to be kind of something that he was proud to share, but not bragging about it. I mean, it's just the way things are. And yeah. So, I mean, amazing. Absolutely.
Oh, Joni, that was an amazing interview with Nathan. I truly hope we can bring him back on. What a genuine, down-to-earth, just simple guy.
I agree. I enjoyed that very much, and I know our listeners did too.
Yeah, I'd love to see, these artists that, you always think about them living in big, fancy homes and having gourmet meals every day, but when it comes down to it, they're just simple, normal people doing their thing.
That's right.
And that's a good side that I really like to see.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you for joining us for Stories Round the Table with Hudson and Joni. We hope you enjoyed this glimpse into the heart of these stories. If you loved this episode, please subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget to connect with us on our website, storiesroundthetable with hudsonandjoni.com. We'll see you next week, ready to share another story.